Hey you guys, it's Carmen. Here's the word I'm going to teach you today. As you can see, I'm using a regular Crayola marker, so feel free to use whatever you want. Let's get started. We're starting off with the letter D, which is obviously the first letter in dream. So just notice how I'm first writing the letter out. And then the second time, you'll notice where I'm bringing the pen down in a downward motion. This is where we'll draw the second parallel line to make it look like the lines are thicker here and we made actual brush strokes. So you'll see where I first made that loop and then second where I made that loop, and those are where we're drawing the extra downstrokes. So the third time I'm drawing this letter or writing this letter, notice one more time where I'm making those downstrokes and draw those parallel lines, and this time we'll actually fill them in. Okay, moving on to the letter R. This is pretty similar to a regular cursive R, as you can see how I've drawn it here. So the second time, just notice where I'm bringing the pen down. After that first loop, and then that second downward motion at the end of the letter. So we'll make one extra line in that tiny loop, and then another extra line right there. And the third time we draw this letter, we'll put it all together and draw the extra downward strokes, and then we'll fill them in here as well. Now for the letter E. This one is pretty simple. Just like any other E you would write, it's one fluid motion and we have one downward stroke. So we're only making one extra parallel line to make it look like a thicker brush stroke. Now for the third time, we'll put it all together, draw the letter out, draw that extra line, and then fill it in here. On to the letter A. This is again very similar to a cursive A. So just notice how I'm drawing it here. And then the second time, I want you to watch where I draw it and where I'm actually bringing the pen in a downward motion. So we have the first portion of the letter where I'm making that rounded face, and then the second portion of the letter. Those are where we will draw the extra lines where we will make it look thicker. Okay, and then for that third time, you know the drill, just put it all together, draw the extra parallel lines, and fill them in. Feel free to take your time with all of this, and also, it's okay if your letters do not look perfect. I just want to give you that reminder. So next we're moving on to the letter M. This one is a little bit more complicated. So watch that first loop, and I'll make the first hump and the second hump. And then we'll bring up the tail just a little bit. So the second time, just notice I have the one loop into a downward motion, and then the next downward motion, and one more downward motion. So this is a letter where we will have 3 areas where we're drawing an extra parallel line to give it the look of a brush stroke. So you'll see that very first section, the second, and now the third. Okay, and one last time where we will draw the letter out, put and fill in all our downstrokes, and then color them in. Again, I just want to encourage you to take your time with this. This letter is one that's a little bit more complicated, and you might find you need a little more space to actually practice this one, and that's totally fine. And here we go, we'll put it all together. First, remember how we made the letter D, and then keep your pen fluid and go right into the letter E. Then I want you to pick your pen up because E has a rounded face. Then pick it up one more time because A has a rounded face. And try to go directly into the letter M and keep your pen fluid for this portion as well. Now what we're going to do is go back through each letter and draw the extra parallel line to make it look like the brush strokes. Once we've done that to each letter, then we will color those extra lines in and you will see a beautiful end result. Again, I just want to encourage you to take your time when you're doing this. You're probably not going to get it perfect the very first time, so have a little bit of patience with yourself, and remember, practice makes perfect with hand lettering. The more often you do things like this, the more you'll be able to craft your own unique style and get a feel for all the letters. There you go.